The power of habits. Hello, I'm Christopher, welcome to my channel. First of all, leave your like and subscribe to my channel to continue receiving the videos automatically and for YouTube to understand that this content is useful to other people. So let's go. You might even think you have control over your life. But really, most of the time, it's just repeating pre-established habits. Your habits dictate your actions. Understanding them is the first and big step towards taking control of your daily life, promoting significant transformations. At work, the main gains are in productivity and, consequently, in results. Habits, scientists say, arise because the brain is constantly looking for ways to save effort. If left to its own devices, the brain will try to turn almost any routine into a habit, as habits allow our minds to slow down more often. This effort-saving instinct is a huge advantage. An efficient brain requires less space, which allows for a smaller head, making childbirth easier and therefore causing fewer deaths of babies and mothers. An efficient brain also allows us to stop constantly thinking about basic behaviors such as walking and choosing what to eat, so that we can dedicate mental energy to inventing spears, sprinkler systems, and eventually airplanes and video games. But preserving mental effort is a tricky issue, because if our brains shut down at the wrong moment, we might miss something important, like a predator hiding in the bushes or a speeding car as we pull out into the street. So our basal ganglia have developed a clever system for determining when to allow habits to take over. It is something that happens whenever a block of behavior begins or ends. This process inside our brains is a three-stage loop. First, there is a cue, a stimulus that sends your brain into automatic mode, and tells you which habit to use. Then there is the routine, which can be physical, mental, or emotional. Finally, there is a reward, which helps your brain to know if this particular loop is worth memorizing for the future. Over time, this loop, cue, routine, reward, becomes more and more automatic. Cue and reward intertwine until a powerful sense of anticipation and desire arises. Eventually, whether in a lab or your garage, a habit is born. Habits are not inevitable, they can be ignored, changed or replaced. But the discovery of the habit loop is so important, because it reveals a basic truth: once a habit sets in, the brain stops participating fully in decision-making. He stops making so much effort, or diverts his focus to other tasks. Unless you deliberately fight a habit, unless you find new routines, the pattern will automatically unfold. However, just understanding how habits work, learning the structure of the habit loop, makes them easier to control. Once you've broken a habit down into its components, you're ready to play with the gears. This explains why it is so difficult to form the habit of exercising, for example, or changing our diet. Once we get into a routine of sitting on the couch instead of going for a run or having a snack, these patterns remain forever inside our heads. By the same rule, however, if we learn to create neurological routines that are more powerful than these behaviors, if we take control of the habit loop, we can force these unhealthy tendencies into the background. Researchers have found that cues can be almost anything, from a visual stimulus such as candy or a TV commercial, to a certain place, time of day, emotion, train of thought, or the company of specific people. Routines can be incredibly complex or fantastically simple. Some habits, like those related to emotions, are measured in milliseconds. Rewards can range from food or drugs that cause physical sensations to emotional compensations such as feelings. The force of triggers. It is not enough to maintain good habits. You have to grow new ones. And it's not about big things, difficult to execute. Did this content help you? Leave your comment here.